Hello.
The moo.
Hello. What's going on?
Ready for bed.
A little early for that, right?
Nope. Been up since 11 p.m. last night.
Oh, well. Yeah, I didn't go to bed until 3, got back up at 5, went back to sleep about noon, got up at 1:30. I've been up since. So I guess I kind of feel your pain. I don't really sleep anyway, so
Yeah. So what's cooking?
well, just waiting on a few more people. I I don't know. I had let's see, Ray wanted to do something with some LEDs. So I played around with some LEDs um last week, and I was going to try those. And
To give you a laser machine?
do what?
I said, did he give you a laser machine?
No, I tried. I don't have room. You've got a better shot of getting that laser machine. You
He
got
sent me
room for it.
he sent me pictures of it. I didn't know whether to reply or not.
You
So
got room for it. So
I wouldn't mind tinkering with it,
yeah.
but I'd probably need him to shadow some of the repairs. So I could do the wiring and put the stuff kind of where it goes. I would have no idea how to calibrate it or anything.
It's I mean, I hate saying it because Ray's really good at what he does, but it's really just an XY printer.
Yeah.
I I mean, if you can calibrate a 3D printer, you should have no problem. I mean, the hardest part would be getting it into focus.
Yeah.
So you might need Ray for that, but I don't think anybody would have a big problem getting it to home to the right spot or anything like that. I mean, it's got limit switches and everything. Should be easy enough to do.
Once you wire them in, which kind of he implied that that's some of the stuff that needs to be done.
That is some of the stuff that so, but it really, I mean, that short time that I worked with Ray, I was kind of, they use similar motor drives. They use similar, uh, everything's pretty much the same as a 3D printer, only, you know, you have a very small uh focal axis instead of a tall
Yeah.
printing axis. So, but
All mine.
all yours. What?
Oh,
But, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. I'm reminded of a story that my dad told his father, my grandfather, whom I never met, grew up in an orphanage. His father had come over after the potato famine and could not care for my grandfather, so he was put in an orphanage. And my father and mother had kind of taken on that orphanage as one of their social projects. They went up there on 4th of July, and the nuns that were running that told some of the children that were there, go out and unload the fireworks from Mr. Sullivan's trunk. But they didn't tell them, don't set them off. And so they left, and the entire contents of the fireworks were lit at the same time. People were shooting Roman candles at each other across the facility and running around with sparkling fountains. And that would be me working on the laser. Yeah, the individual things would be fine, but collectively it would be chaos.
Chaos. Yeah. I will. I mean, getting the mirrors all lined up the right way and everything, that takes some skill, but the electronics part of it is pretty straightforward.
Well, theoretically, it's straightforward. Beyond that, beyond the theory, is where I have the difficulty.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe because I play around with so many 3D printers, I'm just kind of looked at it and went, oh, it's just a big 3D printer instead of whatever. Hey, there's a Galaxy A52 coming in. I wonder who that might be. I'm scared. Hello, Galaxy A52.
It's not me.
It's not you.
No, I've got my phone here.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi there. Can you
Hi.
see me? Can you see me?
I cannot see you. No.
Okay, I'm on my phone. For some reason or other, I'm having difficulty logging in with the app on my computer.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so
Hit
let me see if I can get a picture.
hit the like the center, the picture, and see if it doesn't pull up a camera for you.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Zoom.
I'm pretty sure that's what I had to do.
Oh, yes, let me try that again. Hello?
Hello?
Hi. It keeps Xing out my camera.
That I don't know. I can't help you with that.
Okay, let's try this.
There you are.
Here we are.
Okay.
I saw you joined earlier today,
Yeah,
No.
I just
and then
I wanted to make sure I got set up because I've had some issues since I've been here in Milford. Um, let me put it this way. Spectrum is not on my list of recommended vendors right at the moment.
Yeah.
Without saying anything that'll get us in the X-rated category, I just say I have murderous thoughts. Okay.
I last week was my first time with my new provider. I dumped Spectrum. I'm on AT&T right now. So
Well, let me tell you, you're the leader on the list because I'm going to do the same thing shortly. But I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
We arrived here a week ago, Tuesday, and we have had some issues since then. I spent my first night in the ER here in, God, where is it? It's someplace up at, off of 275 at, what's the name of the thing? It's 22 and 3 or 3 and 22 or whatever. At any rate, so we've had a challenge, but so I didn't make it at all last week. But the upshot of it was I concluded after a couple of days of research that my router had bought the farm. So I called Spectrum and they sent out a guy. And this guy, nice young guy, clearly in the early stages of the training program. He had learned to talk. He had learned to carry the tools around and flash them around when the customer had a question. But the minute he, well, when I figured out he didn't have anything, he didn't have a lot of knowledge, I just politely allowed him to finish his spiel and exit. So I fiddled around with this router, but he did swap the router. So so I fiddled with it a few days and I couldn't get an interface. They wouldn't bring up the usual interface which you go to configure the router. So, and I couldn't get anything in the way of a subnet except 192.168.1. And I never use that because I'm on a lot of VPNs, and if I hit one that has a .1, then, you know, there's confusion. So long story short, get the second guy out. He's more knowledgeable. I said, okay, I want to configure my router. His comment, I kid you not, was, we don't let you configure your routers. Your routers are locked up. We don't want any customers fiddling around with our routers because they don't know what they're doing. Okay. So I was very polite to him. I didn't tell him what I thought. I didn't even tell him what I thought. Okay. And so it turns out the latest router from Spectrum, you aren't allowed to set your own subnets. You aren't allowed to set your own firewall. And by the way, ping is disabled. So you cannot, that means IPMC is disabled. Okay. So, so I can't ping any place, even on my internal network here, which is a pain when you're trying to do troubleshooting.
Why did they disable ping? Did
Well,
they tell you?
They don't want their stupid customers messing around with their equipment and messing it up.
Do you not have your own?
That was pretty much exactly what he said. He was a little more tactful than that, but he said, you know, we have bad experience with our customers configuring the equipment. And so we don't let them configure it at all. So the next question is going to be, what's a good router to buy? Now, in California, I own my own router. I own my own modem. Getting the modem hooked up was a little bit dicey because I had to get a tech out to configure the modem. The router was a piece of cake. I mean, a standard router. You set the subnet, you set your firewalls, you set your fixed IP address, you set your floating IP addresses and so forth. And, you know, it's straightforward. But this has been a very uncomfortable situation. So I was leery of the meeting today, figuring that something's got to go wrong. I mean, you know, there's such a thing as being positive, and there's such a thing as being foolhardy, so to speak. So I made sure I had the latest version of Zoom. Everything was cool, so forth and so on. So I logged in early, like a couple hours early, just to make sure everything was connecting. Everything connected beautifully. I tested my audio, I tested my video, blah, blah, blah. So time comes for the meeting to start. And
And you're not here anymore.
well, the upshot of it is that it won't let me join with the app. It would only let me join with the web browser. So I tried to
Okay.
do that, and it locked me out also. So here I am on my phone, which knock wood still works, and that's the end of the story. So I'm looking for a recommended browser, and if somebody's trying to recommend one with that picture that's on there, that is about 0.00 point. I mean, I couldn't
I-
read that with a microscope.
all I was trying to show you was AT&T let me have access to the router.
Oh, okay. Well,
I wasn't recommending it necessarily, but I'm perfectly happy with it, and they would let me have access to the router. So
oh, so this is AT&T's router.
yeah.
What brand
It's-
router is it?
I
You know?
have no idea.
Okay.
What this is I'm on the 4G network.
Okay.
I'm getting close, not quite, but close to what I was getting with Spectrum, about 300 meg down
Yeah.
and close to 20 up. So
Yeah.
I'm doing
Well,
way better on the upside than I was with Spectrum. But
what were you getting up with Spectrum?
10, I want to say
Okay.
10. I was getting high 300s with Spectrum.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a little bit worse, but almost the same, and it doesn't matter.
What's the, what's this?
That's my bandwidth.
Oh,
Wow.
leave it to Steve to show off here.
Well, wait until Vicente gets here. His is his is insane too. So, but
Who's your vendor there, Steve?
Phi Optics, Cincinnati Bell.
So that's fiber.
Yes.
So what is the actual name of it? It's Phi Optics.
Yeah. Cincinnati Bell, Phi Optics up here. Oh. Yeah.
Alt fiber.
What's
Black
that?
is download, green is upload, and red down here with a max of 4 milliseconds is my delay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty impressive.
that's where mine kind of fails. Is I have a very high latency.
Really?
Yeah, it's insanely high.
Because you're on cellular.
It's because I'm on cellular, yes. But overall, I'm happy with it. And when they actually get 5G here, this router that they sent me is 5G capable, so they'll just bump me up to the 5G. and I will be even more happy. Probably even more happy. But this router looks like a giant egg. It's 9 pounds and it's freaking huge. And the only thing I can guess is there's a bunch of phased array antennas in it because it's getting fantastic signal.
Okay.
But I can't be happier with it. And I got rid of Spectrum finally. Woohoo!
Well, I'm right behind you. Okay.
I-
We have fiber to the curb out here, so I'm assuming they bring it in and put it in the basement or something like that, and then come up through the floor.
They're running fiber out at the street now. I don't know if that means we're going to get what we're going to get, but the area is getting fiber, so
Okay.
that's a good thing.
Well, we got ours 2 years ago, and at that time they sent around a whole bunch of literature. Oh yeah, this is greater than sliced bread and so forth and so on. At that time, Spectrum was working okay.
Right.
And so then I arrived back here in Milford, and the router that I had for a couple of years was messed up somehow or another. And so they came out and swapped it for a new one, and then informed me, the second guy informed me that they don't let their stupid customers fool with the settings on the router because they mess things up. Okay.
I don't understand that, but
Well, I assume that they have to roll more trucks because of misconfigured routers. Who knows?
yeah.
My
So
problem with AT&T was the billing. I would end up having to call and talk to them every single month about something. And it went on and on to where my sister lives in Kansas City, and they also have AT&T. My brother-in-law was a specialist of telecommunication when he worked for the government. So he was quite capable of running into every county into the United States and took care of that network. And my sister says she can tell when he is talking to AT&T before she opens the door to the house.
oh, one of those.
Yeah. So when I got the chance to go with Spectrum, I took it, and I just did a speed test. I'm running about 372 with 10 up.
That's
Yeah,
that's typically where mine was sitting, was 350, 360, somewhere in that range. I'll run a speed test.
And that's when Leroy dropped out.
Oh, did I?
No, not yet.
So Steve, what does that catch you for?
They just raised me to $62 a month. I've been at $52 a month for like 6 years.
Yeah, but you haven't been in that house for 6 years.
I know. When I moved, it followed.
Really? Oh, that's
Yep.
cool.
I continued to pay it when I wasn't even in that house because I was in an apartment in Fairfield that was Spectrum only, and I couldn't put my server there. I couldn't run my websites.
Mm-hmm.
So my kids moved into the house I had been in. I continued to pay for the fuse or Alta Fiber, Zoomtown, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got their own plan. And when I moved everything out to Eastgate.
Okay. Well, that's very reasonable because I've been paying Spectrum uh, just south of 100 a month. And that was allegedly for 400 down and 20 up. And when they were working properly, they worked pretty well, but it's one of those things that just went away.
So
Mhm.
my AT&T is $56 a month. And according to speedtest.net, I'm getting 267 down and we'll call it 18 up. And according to Fast, I'm getting 310 down and 14 up. So, and that's with me streaming. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not a whole lot worse than it was. But
And cheap.
and cheap, $56.
Have you paid any attention to how often your IP address changes?
I've only seen it change once, and that was right after I signed up
Mhm.
or activated the router, and um that night they did a router update or a firmware update or something, and then I noticed that my IP address changed. So, and then things started working a little bit better afterwards too. So I guess the update was good. I don't know. It said that it was getting the 5G update, but according to AT&T, 5G is not available in this area yet. So I don't know what that means.
That kind of surprises me.
Well, kind of surprised me too, but if you drive around the neighborhoods, you don't see any 5G towers anywhere out on the. I've seen one. There might be one.
I say you wouldn't see them anyway. They look like trees.
The ones I'm looking for are on top of the telephone poles. And
Yeah.
if you drive through like Middletown, you see them all over the place.
Most of them look like little TP-Link Wi-Fi things,
Yeah, yeah. But
and they can put them anywhere. They don't have to be on the towers or anything anymore.
yes, they don't have to be. They're on top of the telephone poles a lot, but um I've been the day that I activated the account, they build it and took the money immediately, which I could say that was better than what Spectrum did, which when I went on auto pay with them, it took them like a week to take the money. And I'm like, I have money and I shouldn't have money. But I don't know. I'm on a
So the last mile on yours is Wi-Fi, right?
yes. Um so it has out of the box, it has the 5G Wi-Fi network activated, and I had to actually go in and turn the 2G on because I have devices that only work on 2G, like the ESP32s. Um, so that was
When you
kind of
say you had to go in, you mean you actually went to a store someplace?
no. I went into the router configuration and had to turn
Okay. Okay.
the 2.4 gigahertz on. that was kind of a pain because I was expecting them to both to be on when it started, but I guess I understand why they did that. 2.4 is getting to be a legacy deal. But on the back of the router, it's got a 1 gig Ethernet port and a 100 meg Ethernet port. And
Really?
that's it. That you get a choice of 1 gig Ethernet or 100 Ethernet, and everything else is Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I of course have it connect. I have an old Cisco voice over IP phone, and I have that running through a hub, and everything there is only, I think it's only 10. So I've got it plugged into the 100 meg side because I didn't want to waste the 1 gig for something that I'm not using yet.
I'm gonna say 2G and 3Gs are restricted to IoT only now, aren't they?
Probably. I don't know. But yeah, I was looking for a pic. I took a picture of this big ass router, and I was looking. I can't find the picture now.
It was a phantom picture.
I can't
It-
find it. We have taken so many pictures,
Hmm.
grandkids and everything else. But I was looking for a picture. But I mean, overall, I am giving up a little bit of speed, but I don't really feel it. I mean, I've only really noticed that there's been any kind of problem when Thea is playing on her VR. And that's when I kind of notice a slowdown. So I guess the pipe isn't huge, but the speed is there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to AT&T and see what they have to say. So my experience over the years with AT&T, both at clients and on personally, has been
Horrifying.
D plus, C minus, I would guess, in the vernacular of grades. But I am definitely not happy with this lockdown on the Spectrum router. I got to tell you that really grated.
Well,
And this tech was perfectly happy about it. He said, "Oh yeah, we don't let the in effect dumb users touch our routers."
I while I was doing my searching for a different ISP, I AT&T was the only one in this area that offered anything that was even close to being reasonable. So
So you don't have anything wired into your house.
no.
You have a device that connects.
Yeah. Let me
Uh,
share the screen. I know you're
okay.
you're trying to show something, but I want to show something. I
Yeah.
found it. There's
Well, that's very impressive.
that thing is freaking huge. It's that
Wow. What is that, like 12, 15 inches across?
it's probably a good, yeah, it's probably a good foot across.
I thought I saw that flying over the stadium the last football game.
Yep.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
my grandkid calls it the egg. She got the egg.
That is funny.
But
Wow.
I'm and it's heavy. Like I said, it's about 9 pounds. It's um God, it's just insane. But I'm guessing because it works so well, I'm guessing there's some phased antennas in there that pull the signal in.
Well, that's
Yeah.
very clever.
The cleverest part, it's white. You can't really tell in that picture, but it's white, and it kind of, it just blends into the room. But it's got the clock on it, and I'm guessing they made it so that it just that looks like a funky clock that can sit
Yeah,
on your
very
shelf.
funky, I would say.
It's it's a huge funky clock that sits on your shelf. But yeah, I have heard horror stories about the billing of AT&T as well, and we will see how that goes. But like I said, they almost as soon as I activated the thing, they took the money from the account. So I was kind of impressed with that.
When I worked for the printing company years and years ago, that was up until about 2007. We had a corporate AT&T account for probably 120 dial-up numbers. That was never right.
Never right.
Never. I'd
Wow.
call them on months that it was $300 too much and let it go when it was $200 too little, and it evened out.
And we can't fix that this next bill, but the bill after that, it will be right, we think.
Yep.
Okay. That could be a problem.
Well, and when I get the paper bill, it wouldn't match what I had been talking to the representative about.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to say I got lucky on my first bill that it actually was what it was supposed to be?
Sounds like it.
Well,
Don't jinx it.
it's
Knock on wood. Where's the wood?
it's sort of like the old tale that if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the bill's supposed to be, the first one looks right.
I see that was one thing that I actually was fairly impressed with their online shopping cart. It told you exactly what the bill was, and it told you what to expect the bill to be, which from what I've heard, that is not usually the MO of AT&T. But it looks like the FCC has put some regulations in place or something where they have to actually tell you what kind of speed you're going to get and what the actual bill is and what the taxes will be and all the hidden costs associated are going to be up front. So we'll see. I mean, worst they can do is screw it up and I send it back, and in 30 days I can get Spectrum again, which I hate. I've hated Spectrum for a very, very long time. But
Since it was Time Warner.
since it was Time Warner, yes. And the sad part is around here Spectrum was just about the only thing you could get up until recently. So now that 5G, they're scared. They are. When I took all my equipment back to Time Warner, the lady said, did you get fiber or did you get 5G? And I told her that I got 5G, and she went, yeah, they're putting those in a lot. We're losing customers. And I was like, you just lost another one. I mean, you guys got to become competitive, right? I mean, if I can get it for $56 and you're charging $80 for almost the same damn thing.
But you get 200 channels of ads for Spectrum.
Yeah.
What a deal.
That was what killed it for me. I paid for cable when it was cable without ads.
Mm-hmm.
I was willing to pay for that. And then they started running ads.
Ads. Yeah.
And then nothing except ads. Good Lord, when we were at the apartment in Fairfield, I think in a year and a half, I probably watched 5 hours of Spectrum cable. And of that, 2 hours of it was ads for Spectrum telling me how wonderful I should feel about paying them.
Well, I don't have Spectrum cable. I have internet and mobile phones through them, but no cable. We get our TV signal over the air with a chimney top antenna.
Yeah.
I am so happy with Mint.
Yeah.
15 bucks a month. I pay at $180 a year.
Yep. I'm getting ready to renew here real soon. My Mint will renew in 2.5 months.
Yeah, mine's a little less, sometime in May.
But
If you want to try it, I got a free Mint card, free month of Mint.
yeah, you can get it for 15 bucks a month if you pay ahead.
Right.
Pay for the entire
$20
year.
otherwise.
Yep. Still a good deal at 20 bucks. So, but I was going to say, when I got rid of the cable part of Time Warner, that was almost like pulling teeth. I mean, they tried to sell me on every option they had to get me to keep cable, and I didn't watch it. I mean, I might have watched one thing the whole entire time that I had it for the 3 months I was supposed to have it. So, I just ended up with just the internet, but I hated it. I just hate I just hate Spectrum. So, Vicente is here. Do you want to talk about your motor dilemma, Mike?
Well, I have a question, and I would appreciate anybody's input on it. I have a motor controller right here. I have the model number. I sent photos to Leroy on, but I have been unable to find, well, that's the motor. By the way, I picked that up off of Craigslist, the motor and a controller, but that is what you're seeing there, the Pulse Power Systems. That is the one I'm holding in my hand. Part number 1400 revision E2 has a paper sticker on there that says revision D, but I can't find anything about this motor controller. So I can find the other motor controller I have is an MC 2100, and there's plenty of documentation on that. But my question is this: where should I be looking to find a schematic or a manual or some information about this? I've searched everywhere I know on the internet, and I don't know whether I'm just putting the wrong information in or that it doesn't exist. This one is a pulse width modulation speed control, and it's an external unit that, if I'm correct, it plugs in on this port here. But I don't have any idea which of the pins is
okay.
for the pulse width modulation signal, nor do I know what frequency that is. I'm guessing that most of these are going to be roughly similar in that there'll be 20 hertz and it will be one pin out of the 8 that are on there. So I'm open for suggestions. I have one 3.6 horsepower motor and a controller that works with the pulse width modulation input. This other board and the other motor, I don't have any information and can't find it.
Do you have any idea how old it is?
I haven't been able to see a date on this. Let me see if there's anything that would indicate it.
That circuitry looks kind of dated. It's got physical components on it, not surface mount. It's got the board itself looks a bit dated. It may be that it's just too old and it never got put on the internet.
We,
That's,
I'm,
that's
I'm
possible.
thinking that this is less than 20 years old and the internet's older than that.
Well, yeah.
What about the motor? Do you have everything about the motor? If all the data sheet or something?
I know everything about the motor. I can find that, but
It's a three-phase motor.
No, it's a DC brushed
This-
motor.
DC motor.
Yeah, yes, it's a DC motor.
Four wires?
It's out in the garage right now. I don't have it. There are 4 wires coming out, 2 of which are thermal protection, and the other ones are for the power input.
What about the voltage of the motor?
130 volts DC.
Yeah, they just rectify 120, smooth it out a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
and then do PWM on the input.
So when I was searching, I focused more on the motor than I did on the drive.
Yeah, because you can use a Chinese drive.
Yeah.
A cheaper one, DC drive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. What I was hoping to find was information about this particular card.
Yeah, but sometimes you can take a picture of the car, over a flat white surface, and use Google search images to find the car itself, the picture of the car. I use that when I lose hope to find something. I just take a picture and put in the Google search in the image, and sometimes I'm lucky to find something about it.
Well, I pulled up images of motor controllers and looked through them quickly to see if they had the same configuration of capacitors and transformers that this one has. So I'm just doing a gross comparison.
Yeah.
Didn't find a thing. I found
Usually those controllers were close are used inside the companies. They don't release any information. They don't sell the controller. They sell machines that use the controller and the motor. So sometimes it's almost impossible to find the documentation of the part itself, because the part is not on sale or never was on sale.
Yeah.
Was some
this
proprietary.
board, excuse me, this board says Pulse Power Systems. And I found other boards from that company, but not the one that I have.
Yeah. Yeah, Vicente is probably onto something though. they sold that to an OEM
Exactly.
for the treadmill and only gave the OEM how to wire it up. So they're under an NDA or something to not disclose how that thing actually works.
So this thing originally came out of a treadmill?
I believe so. I have two sets. I have pulse signal systems and a motor. Then I have one I just picked up off of Craigslist for free, which is the 3.6 horsepower motor and the MC 2100 motor controller. The MC 2100 controller and the 3.6 horsepower DC motor, I'm using that as kind of a reference. I know about that. I have the information for that and the schematic and the right pulse width modulation control for that. It's this other one that I don't have anything about.
Yeah.
I think it came out of a treadmill, but I don't know for sure.
If
Looking
you
at the board, I'm guessing you are correct because it has up and down and a positional signal.
yeah. And if you look at the model number for that specific motor, almost all of them come back to treadmills.
Okay, the motor that I sent you the picture of
Mhm.
is the one that I picked up with this control board.
Yeah, if you there's an actual specific model number that's a little hard to see in your picture, but if you do that actual model number, the 1116ZY3, that will tell you that it came out of a motor or out of a treadmill.
Well, the 3.6 horsepower motor, I know it did,
Yeah.
but it's this.
Yeah, you want to know more about the board.
Okay, let me back up for clarification because I think I've confused the issue. I have two sets of motor control boards and motors. One of them, the picture of which you put up there on the board, I know about.
Yeah.
It's this one, the pictures of the board that I sent you that I don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah, I would guess Vicente is right. It's an OEM board that you're probably never going to find anything about.
But it looks simple enough to make a reverse engineering thing, you know? This is a AC power, right? 120 volts AC.
Yes.
Goes
60
through
hertz, 120 volts,
a rectifier.
AC.
A rectifier that is in the bottom because it generates heat. It's a 4 legs thing that goes under the board. It's a rectifier.
Yeah, it's a full wave bridge rectifier on the back side of the
And
board.
in the top looks like there is exactly, and in the top there is a huge capacitor. What's the voltage of the capacitor in the top? The black one?
Yes.
In the center, what's the voltage?
Okay.
The cylinder one. 150?
200 volts.
Okay, so this capacitor is
1500 microfarads.
okay. This is after the rectifier, you know, and they use the DC to drive the motor. I think it's very simple to identify how it works, you know. Well, for me, at least.
Okay. So the answer is I've been looking the right places, but there's nothing to be found.
That would be I put a video of it's not the same motor and it's definitely not the same controller, but this guy explains basically how those controllers work.
Okay.
So, I mean, you should be able to figure it out if you really want to use that controller.
Is there any small chip in the board?
Okay, so this is
an oscillator or something? Because sometimes you need to feel the DC voltage that generates the pulse train, the frequency. Sometimes you need to feed the frequency to the board,
Mm,
you know, the PWM thing to change the speed of the motor.
I'm sorry, Vincente, I didn't
Okay,
quite
you should-
understand you.
Usually you have a DC power source of 150 volts DC, okay? And you have some transistors that switch on and off the power,
Yes,
okay? The switching is power wide modulated. I mean, you can change the time that is on and the time that is off to change the amount of energy that finally reach the motor, you know?
I understand that.
Okay,
The pulse
sometimes,
width modulator
okay,
generator
it's in the
that
board.
goes with the control board for the one that has the MC 2100 motor control board.
Okay,
I know the setup on that, the frequency to input and the percentage that I can use to vary the
Okay.
speed of the
Uh-huh.
motor. If I were to use that same thing and just guesstimate and say, what does this pin do? And what does this pin do? And what does this pin do? What am I likely to let smoke out of?
sure. You need to wear a mask and try.
that's probably what I would do is I would just do some trial and error and see what happened. But
Are there ICs on that circuit board you've got, or are those all power components?
There's one small integrated chip.
that would be your pulse width modulation generator,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Well, the
Do you have a number on it?
okay, I have to get the magnifying glass out.
Okay.
The pulse width modulation control that has the 20 hertz and
It,
is dialable is a separate entity. It's not on this chip.
Okay.
it has 14 legs, the chip. How many legs? 8 or
Don't make fun of old people.
I use the same. Look,
1, 2, 3.
I'm using this.
6, 7.
I have a big one. I have a big, huge magnifying glass.
Mine has a fluorescent light in it.
Yeah, mine too.
Well, mine with the light is out in the garage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 18-pin chip.
18. Maybe a 556 LM 556.
MSC
Mhm.
SG3526N. The third line is 0319A.
That's probably a date code.
Yep. Did you say SG3526N?
SG. G as in
3526N?
yes.
That is a pulse width modulation. Oh, come on, Google. Show me what I want to see. According to Google, that is a pulse width modulation that doesn't actually have any information behind it.
Runs an 8 to 35 volts, so I'm guessing that
Here,
you put 120 volts into that board, it makes 120-ish volts DC and 12 volts to run a display somewhere. But
Where he is.
that's your PWM controller. That probably only has pots hooked up to it.
This particular board has two pots, one for maximum speed, which the other one does not have. And then it has inputs for a vertical motor controller for the elevation of a
Okay.
For the
Yeah.
incline.
yeah, and that's a separate motor system altogether. And so there's two things being controlled off of this. I'm not interested in varying the height of my drill press or anything like that. So,
Yep. Watch that video. Because that guy, that's exactly what he's using these motors for, is for a drill press and a lathe.
Yeah.
S-
now
So-
there's another guy that has about 20 or 25 videos, and it's something like a wax car, where he has two items on his YouTube channel, old cars and treadmill motor uses. And he goes through, he's got like 4 or 5 different motor control boards. Some are controlled to a potentiometer, and some are fed with a pulse width modulator. Now, he doesn't have anything, nothing about this board on there.
Yeah.
Well, that board has the PWM on it. And you've, in the chat, there's a couple of documents already presented
Yeah, so
that tell you what the pinout is. So if you follow the lead back from the IC
there is
to
data
the
sheet.
where they connect,
Yeah,
you can see where you need to connect a pot.
yeah.
Okay,
The-
now,
The last link I put in there was an actual link to the PDF. The other one was just information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
that's the PDF I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. So it's
Me
a 1 hertz to 350 kilohertz oscillation range, according to this.
But that frequency will be set on the
Yeah,
circuit board.
it's somewhere already there. But that's probably about as close as you're going to get to finding out what that board actually is.
okay, now, I've got a series of notes on the chat, and I'm not certain which one you're referring to.
Okay, there's the 3 that I put up there for
The
everybody.
last link,
the
micro
very
semi.
last one that says microsemi.com,
Okay,
that should be the data sheet for that chip. That should tell you everything you ever wanted to know about that chip. And then some.
okay,
And you can even control the soft start on the motor, which is sweet.
Yeah. The YouTube link that I sent you, the guy, it's not the same board, but all those boards should be very, very similar. And he shows how to disregard half of the circuit board and just use the pulse width modulation thing that you want for his motor control.
okay,
And he's hooking it up to a lathe. So he's doing something very, very similar to what you want to do.
yep.
So-
And I have looked at that video. Thank you very much for putting it up. There's several of those, and I found pretty good information for the MC 2100.
Right.
Didn't find it for this other one.
It
Excuse me.
you're going to have to kind of piece together some.
I'm going to let some smoke out someplace along the line.
You're just going to have
Nah.
to Yeah, probably not, as long as you're within, the 5 volts for the chip, the 8 volts for the chip, you're probably going to be all right. So, I mean, that chip's got a voltage range of 8 volts to 35 volts. So, as long as you're within that range, you should be fine. You shouldn't let
Okay.
any smoke out, because you're the big capacitor, the rectifier side of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's 200
Don't lick
volts.
that thing.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that. That's 200 volts. So
It'll make you go, ow.
a
Very
little,
much so.
a little bit, yeah. It might
Yeah,
even
that's
do
a
more than
massive
that.
cap.
So you're going to have to probably watch some of those videos and just kind of piece together, there's your diode to keep stuff back feeding into it, and there's your rectifier, and there's this, and you're just going to have to figure it out.
Now, that said, I had a friend that was doing something similar to what it sounds like you want to do, running a drill press. He got rid of all of that stuff and just used a lamp controller, DC rectifier, the big cap, and the motor.
Yeah.
If you vary the power going into the rectifier, it's the same as varying the power coming out. Well, pretty close.
So that's, yeah, you
Are you
could just,
talking about an SCR controller?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yep.
yeah, you could
Just like
just,
a light dimmer?
Yeah. You got to use one that's very high power, like
Okay.
1200 watts.
yeah, that motor says that it is,
3.5 horsepower.
it's
That's
20,
That's
we'll
about
just call it
500 volts.
2,700 watts, according to what's
Yeah.
the label that's on there. So you have some options. You don't necessarily have to use the controller that came with that motor.
And at this point, I'm not interested in learning about another project.
What's
I'm-
wrong with projects? Come on now.
Nothing's wrong with them. I think that the 150 that I have going now are great.
Well, yeah, you could always use one more, right? Just one more.
I picked up a file cabinet over the weekend for free that is normally $1,000 lateral file cabinet capable of holding 700 pounds of files, 4 drawer, and I am converting that to a toolbox.
Eh,
So all the little toolboxes out in the garage are going to be incorporated in that. So
so you'll have room for more toolboxes.
I'll have more room for more things like this damn motor controller that nobody knows about. Yeah, I was just, this is something I thought I would ask about as a step along the way. There is no urgent need for me to modify the drill press to accommodate a 3.5 horsepower variable speed motor. When I get ready to do something like that, I'd like to know what I'm doing before I initiate tearing the other one apart.
I understand.
Yep. The big advantage to a DC motor on a drill press is you get serious grunt at low RPM.
Yep.
They're pretty much constant torque and put out the same amount of torque that 100 RPM is at 1,000. It will break your fingers if you let it.
Yeah, when I worked at the steel mill, that was one of the reasons that most of the equipment was DC powered, was because it was constant torque. The big 16,000 horsepower DC motors that were in the motor control room there would twist a 12-inch drive axle in half if they weren't careful.
You want to keep your hands in your pockets.
Yeah.
I just sent you an email with those 3 links to the stuff, so you don't have to copy and paste and do all that fun stuff, but I don't know. I saw that motor when you sent that picture of that motor. I went, that's a beefy motor.
Yeah.
At 130 volts. Wow. How fast can we make a robot go with that?
You can definitely pick up some ammunition.
I was kind of waiting to see if Ray would show up, because this was actually Ray's thing from last week, but I'm gonna have to turn the background off. Hang on, let me turn the background off.
So the question is, what time zone is he in this week?
Yeah, that's a good question. He came across a project called WLED, and I put a link to it in the meeting announcement, but it is that. And basically it is a bunch of different LED effects. A lot of them are the fast LED demo, like the demo reels, but you can control it over a website, over a web page. So
Yeah.
can everybody see the controller?
Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody see me?
Yeah.
So right now it is orange, and we're going to see if we can get it to refresh. And it's solid. And with the
Yeah.
should have just turned blue.
Yeah.
And
Pink.
that is way bright. Kind of whitish, and then green, but then you've got various animations that it can do. And because my thing has them all in, it's like a matrix, all the animations pretty much look the same. But it can do a half a dozen different animations
This web page is served by the ESP32.
by the ESP32.
Okay.
And I could change to the color of the animation. So now the animation should have gone from green to blue.
Oh.
And from blue to maybe red, if it's not too bright.
There it goes.
And there's a half a dozen different things in here. I think Ray wanted to know how easy it was, and it was a breeze. It was painfully easy to set this up. I figured that it would be a little bit more difficult, but they actually provided within the code, the actual code for, individual things. I can probably show that. So it's just kind of neat. I don't know if it's useful for any particular reason, but it's kind of neat.
Whoever wrote the underlying code for that did some serious work.
Yes. They
Somebody
was-
asked an AI do it and banged it out in 30 seconds.
Nah, it seems to work.
Oh,
That's what you get when you pay the $200 a month fee.
here's the code. And I figured, I would have to change a bunch of stuff to get this to work. And if you're, oh, geez, come on, just do what I ask for once, computer. So if you're at all familiar with Platform IO and how it works, you can set up different environments. And each environment, then you can come down here and say specifically what you need for that environment. So if we look, I've got it set up for the Atom, for the M5 Atom. And if we go down here a little bit further, you should be able to find, well, it doesn't matter. Here, this is for just a generic ESP32. So these are the flags.
World where treadmills begin their lives in the gym with
What?
in their lives alone and unloved in some scrapyard. There is little.
Somebody's talking treadmills here.
Yeah, it's I sent a link to the guy who has all the stuff, and I did not anticipate that it would start up on its own.
Okay, so this is in the direct
It-
response to the
It's all right.
too. Here's my
I can kind of hear it though, so you might want to mute it or
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it.
at 130 volts. Okay.
Okay,
so. But
my apologies.
no problem. But here's all the actual environments, and you just tell it what board you want. So if I don't want to use the M5 Atom and I want to use an ESP32 or 8266, I could come up here to the D1 Mini and go, I want that one. Or like Ray wanted to use some of the old ESP01s. There it is. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now when I compile it, it should load up whatever is needed for that in the output, and it says project has been successfully compiled. So if I had an old ESP01 hooked up, it would have just compiled it, and I could have uploaded it to the thing. And if you go back up here to where the actual code is, when you change the environment, it also comments out or shows you what, where's the code? It shows you what's not going to be used inside the code based on what environment you've got. So it's really cool. Anyway, I was kind of hoping Ray would get a kick out of that because it's painfully simple the way they've got this set up. But it's a large project. Inside the GitHub repository, he said he moved away from the Arduino IDE because of how large the project was actually getting, and platform IO handles libraries better and the different environments better and all that fun stuff. So that's why he moved to Platform IO. So that's my that's my demo for the evening. Anybody got anything else?
Well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to go back a bit and say thank you very much for your input.
Can you
I
bring
think,
can you
monopolize.
bring your stuff for a meeting? You are in a hurry, or you have time to solve the problem with the board and the motor? Because we can see it at the meeting and figure out how to connect it.
I can bring it down.
Yeah, we can try something there. I can bring some tools and do something stuff there, a tester or something.
Well, I
Unless
don't want to smoke the library.
no, but we can make a diagram, and choose how to experiment with it, and you take the notes and do your experiment at home. But we can
Okay.
check which point to use and how to connect the board. We can do that at the meeting.
Speaking of, that would be May 2nd in person.
Okay, this is a
So,
couple of weeks.
should be
1 week.
1 week. 1 week.
Yeah, it should be 1 week.
Yeah.
Next
Okay.
meeting.
So, yes, I mean you're very welcome. I mean that
Yeah.
our input may or may not have been entirely what you expected, but
Well, I enjoy the thought process from a variety of different perspectives. And I like to take an idea and rotate around and tip it and twist it and break it and make it my own.
You can send good pictures to to my mail or to the group, pictures of the front and the back of the board, as good as you can.
Okay,
You can.
I sent those to Leroy. If
Okay.
Leroy could forward them to
Okay.
your, I
Okay.
would appreciate it.
Yeah.
he will need pictures of the entire board,
Yeah.
Okay,
not just the part numbers. But I'll
Fro-
forward what I've got. So.
Front and back of the full board with good illumination.
the back of the board has no information. It's simply the.
No,
start
but
point.
I need to see the traces.
Okay. And I'm not certain I have your email address.
So
Send it to Leroy.
Okay,
He will share with all.
you
the
can
pictures.
also just send it to the Google groups,
Yeah.
and then everybody in groups will get it. Not that
Okay.
everybody wants it, but
I do.
everybody will get it.
and to go back to the beginning of our conversation tonight, I hope that Art's time in the hospital was not life-threatening.
I was
so.
No, it wasn't. I just had another urinary tract infection. They were very helpful. They put me immediately on an antibiotic. They emailed me 2 days later and said, "You've got one bug that isn't going to be touched by this antibiotic, so here's another one."
Yeah.
And thus far, it seems to be working. It was a very unpleasant effect. Basically, I would all of a sudden have to use the bathroom, and there was no notice time. So I ended up wearing what do they call them? Depends, diapers for a while. But the antibiotics work beautifully. So
My wife has noted that in elderly women, urinary tract infections sometimes manifest themselves as psychotic symptoms.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't felt psychotic
Oh.
at all.
Oh my God.
When I was in nursing school, yeah, they brought that up. That was interesting to learn. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're all right. Hi, Julie.
Actually, we have the meeting with Julie. I see her name
There
is
we
in
go.
Well,
the
we're also spending time with Galaxy A52. So
Yeah.
Well,
But-
that's me.
When Julie brought that up in elderly women, I just couldn't see how the two were related. I
exactly.
thought it was an unusual circumstance.
I got nothing
So
to say.
before we ring off, I need a recommendation for a router.
ASUS has some very good equipment, mostly reasonable prices.
Well, what do you consider reasonable prices? $300-400 or?
Oh no, under 2 easily.
I will
Okay.
go with the world that is between the quality and prices in the middle of the range.
Okay.
You know,
Well, the one that I got from the replacement that I got from Spectrum, I have looked and looked and looked. It has some words on it, but I can't find them anyplace. So I assume it's some kind of a cheapo custom blah 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 lockdown
Probably.
router. So
I like the old Motorola router where the username was Motorola and the password was admin.
The Asus that I am using, I just sent the model number, and I don't know how old that is or where I acquired it.
where did you send it to?
I sent it on chat to everyone.
I can't see that on my cell phone.
Oh, I will read it to you. Or
I'll tell you what, can you just send it to the Google group?
I can do it. Yeah,
Okay.
I can do something.
Right now, I'm operating with the Spectrum router, and I assume that has something to do with the fact that I cannot run Zoom, on my Linux PC.
well, Art, they're probably right to withhold your access if you don't know those things.
Well, no, the problem is that this thing has been, since they replaced the router, it has really been operating spooky. And shutting off ping is just, that's a mortal offense as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Well, it's a mortal and moral offense. Okay.
I will send you a link, Art, but I think this is an older router. Micro Center doesn't have it.
Okay.
Asus website still lists it, but
Okay. Well,
I can't seem to find anywhere. Amazon might have it.
well,
Okay.
all of the routers that I have personally owned, as opposed to ones provided by the ISP, have been ASUS, and I've had good success with them. Oh,
So
no,
that thing looks funny as heck,
uh,
but that runs DDWRT, 220 bucks.
Spider.
It should last you a solid 8 years or so before you need to replace it. And in theory, It does 5.3 gigabits per second. I
Okay,
don't see how it can do that when it's only got a 1 gigabit per second input, but hey,
yeah. So that, so the part number for that is coming through.
RT-AC 5300.
Just a moment. RT dash AC 5300. Did I get that right?
Yep.
RT dash AC. Well, okay, I'm sure that's probably available on a 1-day shipment from Amazon.
Quickest I
if-
could get it would be Saturday, but yep.
Okay, well, I will definitely get one of those. Yeah, this box that I got from Spectrum is useless to me. But in any case, I'll try this. I've had good luck with Jesus.
Me too.
So, and they used to have a engineering shop and distribution center within about, I don't know, a mile and a half of my house in California.
One of the things I always look for on a router is if it'll run open source software, and that one will. It's easy to load that one.
Okay.
Now that said, what I personally use is a $70 AC-68, but I've been looking at that one for a while.
Okay.
what I personally use is the one that came built into the giant egg.
Okay.
I'm not having any problems with it. Once I turned 2.4 gigahertz on, I was fine.
Okay.
Uh, I've always liked the Asus routers. I think I've either had or I probably sold it because I didn't need it, was the one that you've got, Mike. I think I had that same router, and it was a great router. But I don't
It's-
have
it's
I don't have it
background for
anymore.
Me and I don't know how many we've gone through, and I really haven't paid much attention. I've got a Linksys also that's the subnet.
So
This tech that came out and said, if you want to be able to configure your router, you got to go buy it yourself. And I said, okay, do you have a recommendation? He said Netgear. And I thought, my experience with Netgear equipment has not been primo, to say the least.
Netgear has two definite tiers of hardware. Some of their better stuff is pretty good.
You got to go from a coax to your Ethernet, though. Art.
Say again?
You have to translate it from a coax line or something to Ethernet, though.
Well, you have to have a modem.
Yeah.
So it came with the modem takes care of coax to Ethernet.
As I said, I didn't know if they gave you more than a modem. Usually, most just give you a modem, and then that's provides your networking. So I'm trying to figure out what you're having issues. or where your block's at.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I was just curious what you're saying that your router or something. Usually that's what your router is whatever converts your media to your LAN connection.
Well, my WAN connection is a coax from Spectrum. It goes through a modem. The modem converts the coax to Ethernet, and then that goes into the input in the router. In California, in Fremont, I have a 2.5 gigabit modem, which I purchased. And then I've got an Asus router, and I don't remember the part number on it now, but it works beautifully. But it's not an integrated unit, it is two separate units. And this business of shutting off the ping really
Well, you're still not going to be able to ping that thing externally.
but internally, the problem is I couldn't even ping in my internal network.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it shut off the ICMP, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and so I was because it was interesting. I could get, all my port 80 and port 443 stuff. In other words, the various websites. But when I went on the command line and tried to ping any site, couldn't do it. Couldn't do 8.8.8.8, couldn't do the IP address of the router, couldn't ping any place. So, at any rate, live and learn.
I don't understand why they would get rid of that.
Well, you filter all ICMP packets.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've probably had internal breaches, users hacking other users.
Yeah, well,
If you can hack somebody over ping, it's probably time to replace the equipment.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
but you can do a scan down and find vulnerabilities on the guy on the router in the house next door and then phone their house. I mean, it's pretty easy to do.
Well, at any rate, I am going to immediately get a new router. I don't know if I'll get a new modem or not, but I will definitely get a new router.
Okay, so this is
Aha!
Is this what do we got here?
You got it working.
Very impressive.
The Starship.
Oh, and the Starship Enterprise cruising across the
Yeah.
screen.
I have been programming the 6502, the microprocessor of the Apple II, in assembler
Yeah.
the last week. So I learned how to program this microprocessor. I never use it really. I was designing a simulator, but I didn't make applications on it. I have this thing working. This is the Kim 1 clone or something that has the real microcontroller, the 6502, RAM, the monitor, and ROM, and this is the I/O chip, a Riot chip. So I made this program using this matrix from AliExpress, very cheap one. I managed to control the max 7211 using some address lines, and this is what I have reached. I did is the Starship Enterprise. Now I am planning to change the speed, pressing different buttons, changing the war speed. But this is the next project, you know. I had a lot of fun with this.
I like it.
Okay, get your warp speed on.
Very nice.
Excuse me.
Retro computer.
You guys see the new
I am using the look. Can you see this? I am using the magnetic connector, USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I am powering this display with a different cable than the controller. The controller uses this, and the matrix uses the other connector. That's it.
Nice. I like it. And that's using only 2 lines to do that?
No, I am using 3 lines in this one.
Okay.
I using 2 lines in the ruler. Finally, I find out how to do it with 2 lines. Let me check if I have the video. I will share it. I tried.
Barry is sharing scary, spooky new robots videos in the chat. If anybody, first there's the creepy new Boston Dynamics robot, and now there's the flamethrower robot.
Let
What
me
was
show.
that?
That was a blurb when I clicked on the video.
Look this. Look at this.
That was
This is the ruler using
Okay.
only 2 lines to control the
nice.
7290. But I need a flip-flop counter,
Okay.
you know, as 74 LS90 is a counter, because I need one of the stage of the counter to produce the low signal,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but it's working. It's working with only 2 lines. I had a video, but I don't know where. This is also moving the same that you saw in the other video. I think that my video is in the phone, not in the computer.
I can't wait to get one of your rulers when they're ready.
Okay. I will give away some. Stop sharing.
Yeah.
Raise.
All right. Oh. Anybody got anything else? Not scary robots?
This is just an aside. My uncle was a Marine that was at the Chosin Reservoir in Korea in 1951. And he said when he looked down from his position and saw the Chinese approaching with flamethrowers, He said it puckered his butt.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these robots are only 10,000. You could have dozens of them.
And that company that made them is in Ohio somewhere, right?
Yeah, just there north of Cincinnati, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know where they're at. I know they're somewhere in Ohio.
Because we have so many forest fires around here that need to be battled by robot forest fires
Yeah.
fighting dogs.
An Ohio-based throw flame. Let's Google throw flame. Let's see where these people are.
Or just the Terminator.
The Terminator. They've got one on a drone too.
How do they carry enough fuel to use a flamethrower? It's gotta be a big drone.
I think this is used to clean the patio with the throw flame to clean the stones in the floor of the patio.
Wow.
Wow, pure. My God.
Yep.
That'd pucker your.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Why?
Or why not?
Wow, a drone.
Right.
My God.
I don't see where they actually, it just says Ohio. I don't see anywhere that actually says.
Oh. Great way to take care of a hornet's nest out in the yard.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, when you preface it by saying, "I've told you to turn that stereo down,"
I could, I really don't want people around me to do that. I've already got idiots out back grilling with big, huge flames right next to the building. And we already had that one building catch on fire and burn down.
Really?
We really don't need another one to catch on fire through just pure being idiots.
Well, you're the one with the robots. I mean, come on now. Just saying. You should be able to defend yourself.
Yeah, well,
Should be your puppy dog.
Patty won't let me buy one. I want to buy one of those.
On their webpage in the support thing, it's made in America and then has a "We Love Cleveland" banner.
Okay.
And if you get flamethrowers in Cleveland, whatever.
Well, and Barry's right. Cleveland is just north of Cincinnati if you drive 3.5 hours.
yeah. Well, I'm reminded of the guy that was getting on the airplane, and the person seated next to him was looking really rather despondent. And he inquired, "You seem to be pretty much down. What's going on with you?" And he says, "Oh, I'm being transferred to Oakland." And he said, "I've heard nothing good about Oakland." And he said, "Well, it's not a bad place, it's got its up and downs and cultural features, and it's nice, close to the bay." And so they chatted for a while. And he said, I'm so relieved that you noticed my disposition and were able to talk to me about it." He said, I feel much better now." He said, "By the way, what do you do in Oakland?" And he said, "Oh, I'm a tail gunner on a beer truck." Oh,
Has everybody seen this?
No.
Yeah.
No,
What is it?
39 seconds long.
the new Atlas from
Atlas,
Boston Dynamics. And it is the most creepiest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
Oh, it gets creepy.
Electric actuators.
It just needs the red ring.
It just needs the red ring. That
Mm.
is,
We can so iRobot that.
yeah. They retired
Atlas. Yeah.
at the original Atlas, or a version of the original Atlas. And this one's actually pretty cool. It's all electric and smaller, and
Doesn't need
All
cables.
electric, what else would it be?
it's from some of their press releases and stuff. I guess they're going to have them working in the factory at one of the Hyundai factories.
Flamethrowers.
I foretell that it's going to be a Spectrum service provider that's going to come out to Art's house and say, I'm sorry, Art, I'm not allowed to turn the ping on.
You poor stupid humans.
Yeah.
Last notice before you
I could definitely use
reconnect
one
with
of
us.
those throwers.
You poor stupid humans can't have nice things, can you? So, well, anybody got anything else? We got about 5 minutes or so left.
Well, I'm going to bow
Oh,
out.
what for dinner?
and,
I think
what's for dinner,
lasagna.
but cupcakes are for next week.
I think lasagna
Okay.
is coming. Cupcakes next week. Already.
Now, let me back up. If you guys aren't interested in them, I won't bring them. But if there's some interest, I'll be happy to bring them.
I will bring this the next week.
Yeah, I really can. I mean, I really can only eat like one.
Mm-hmm.
One pizza?
No, one
Cupcake.
Oh,
Otherwise, I get really wiggy. I mean, it's not great for me. I appreciate the cupcakes, but they are not good for me.
Well, not to get off the side, but the little
Mike, can you bring the ribs?
Ribs.
can I bring?
Spare ribs.
I'm sorry, I did
There-
not understand.
Barbecue ribs.
Barbecue rib.
They don't come in a little box, and I can't make them in muffin.
I mean, I do appreciate them, but I can't really eat them. And I won't have the grandkid. She won't be around. So
what's happening? Is she going home?
no. Her caseworker will be here next week. So her and Patty have to stay here.
Oh.
That's from a sticky roll at lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your glucose?
Yeah. I hit 325-ish.
So I would probably, I can't really see that. 301. I would probably guess that the sugar is not good for any of us.
No.
So
And the older we get, the worse it is.
Okay, I will stop doing it. If you wish for me to resume, let me know. But as of next week, I will not be providing cupcakes. In the future, if you wish to have cupcakes,
I understand.
We put in an order a week in advance. Is that the deal?
It doesn't have to be that far, just as long as I don't have to take them out of the oven while I'm driving.
So, all right. Well, I think
Nice
it's time to call it. It's 7 o'clock ish. So we'll see
No,
look at
no,
his freaking upload speed.
Don't know why.
whose is this?
Vicente.
Yeah.
I told you right at the beginning. I said, wait until Vicente gets here.
No, mine's about the same.
Ah,
I can beat it.
all right. Well, I'll see you guys next week.
Good
Take
night.
care. Have a good
Hopefully
week.
we'll have projects and
in
stuff.
person.
Yes,
We will
in
have
person.
we will have food after somewhere.
Yep.
Barry will
right.
bring us to the pub. Irish.
Sounds
See
good.
you guys later.
Bye bye.
Take care.